Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's April 3rd, 2024. We're about 50 minutes into the market day, and I want to follow up with a short video about some of the scans I introduced yesterday in my add-on. So, once again, as always, the market is your teacher. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Now, I'm in all securities, as you can see, and I'm going to talk about these three groups that I uploaded yesterday. Now, remember that these stocks are from user SmartGroups and SmartGroups in HDSI, and all the groups all the stocks are required to be in all of the groups that are mentioned in the headline. So these stocks are in the Best of Woodward and Brown, the Top 50 Group Inclusion Report, and my Money Flow Smart Group scan. They have to be in all three to pass this. First of all, though, I want to go in and click on industries and rebuild the industries so we know which industries are moving up the most today. This just takes a few seconds. Now I'll get out of here. And then I'm going to go into the Best of Woodward and Brown and Intra-day. And you can see that stocks that were in all of these groups, this is how they're performing today. Tidewater's up the most, 4.2. Actually, GigaCloud's up the most, 6.08. I just happen to have some debit spreads on that stock. But it's been turning around. But anyway, I'm not recommending the stock, but I just want to point out that it did come up in the Best of Woodward and Brown, the Top 50 Group Inclusion Report, and Money Flow In. These stocks were in all of those groups. So not bad. Out of 8 stocks, 7 of them were up right now, and a little while ago, all of them were up. So moving down to the next one, Perfect Speculator. So all of the stocks that come up here have to be in Perfect Speculator, the Top 50 Group Inclusion Report, and the Money Flow In. Now I want to look at the industries here before I go, and you can see that on the stocks that are up, every one of the industries are up. And this one, Rex American Resources, biofuels, that industry is down for the day. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so these are the stocks that are contained in these three user groups, and you can see that out of 30 stocks which appeared in all of them, that 27 of them are up. All of the industry groups are up, except with the exception of this one, and the stock is still up, outperforming the industry group, obviously. Now, early in the morning, you'll see on these intraday range scans, occasionally you'll have one that's above 100%, but that disappears shortly. So don't think anything of it, but it tells me that the stock is at 100%. Now, when I'm looking at these scans, and let me go quickly back to the other one, I look at these columns first to see how old these signals are. Now here's a signal on MCOR that's 58 days old on the 3 crossing the 6, and the VPOC is 15 days, so that means it pulled back at one point, but it wasn't enough for the 3 to be below the 6. I'll just bring it up. And you can see the pullback there, right here, was where the VPOC went negative, but the following day it went positive. So just a little pullback. It wasn't enough for the 3 to cross down below the 6. Now look where this thing took off. Clear back here. And there were pocket pivots that came in after that. Look at all these pocket pivots here as this stock was moving up, and then as it started to go again, more volume pocket pivots. Okay, so let's move back to the other group. I'm kind of all over the place here, but so these are the stocks. So where are the most recent signals. Here's one that crossed over yesterday, 0. And the VPOC crossed over the day before. It's got an RS of 97. It's up 2.47, trading at 73.99% of its daily range. Good volume. So let's take a look at this stock. And you can see that the crossover happened right here. I'm sorry, right here is where it happened yesterday, and the stock looks like it wants to go up. Here's the industry group, which is green. I'm sorry, cyan, and the green is the relative strength to its industry group. So you can see this line is going up, which means that this stock is outperforming its industry group. Good volume today on this also. Pulled back a little bit from its high. It's at resistance, so you have to be careful there. But there was a VPA flag yesterday. High volume up bar closing on the high indicates strength. Let's look at one more. Let's see if I can. Here's Weatherford International. 2 days ago, 0 is always a crossover day. It crossed up. Let's take a look at it. You can see there was a pullback here. This little dot indicates that 3 went down through the 6. The VPOC went negative, but then on this day right here, there was a volume pocket pivot as it turned up, and the 3 crossed the 6 again. These are the lower risk entries that I'm looking for. When a stock is trending like this, when you see it pull back, the 3 pulls back below the 6, and the VPOC pulls back, or sometimes both of them don't pull back, and then they trigger again, those are the lower risk entries because your stop can go just below this low pivot. When you chase these stocks, your risk is higher, of course. Okay, so let's take a look at TRIP. It crossed over a couple days ago. Once again, bring an arrow up here. Here's the VPOC pullback. Here's the 3-6 pullback. Here's the crossover to the upside with pocket pivots. See the blue here? Those are pocket pivots. This is a low risk entry. Where would your stop go? Just below this low pivot. So getting back to the scan. So how many of these are? 26 out of the 30 are positive right now, which is really good. Now, some of them are coming down from their highs. Allison Transmission, which crossed over several days ago, is trading at the high of its intraday range. Let's take a look at Allison here. Very strong, but once again, here was the pullback, and there was a low volume test followed by a confirmation after the pullback. Look at the pocket pivots here and the volume point of control. As I go up from this, you can see right here that it crossed back over on that and it started moving there. These, as I've said several times in this presentation, are the areas that you want to look for. You're looking for strong stocks that are pulling back. Okay, now I'm going to go to my next scan. This is a little broader scan. It only has 2 in here, 2 requirements, the top 50 group inclusion report and money flow in. And if I sort on this, you can see that out of the 46 stocks, 40 are positive. You can see that some of them have pulled back from their high of the day. It's not perfect, but it's good. So the top 50 group inclusion report, sorry about that, and money flow in were both positive. This occurred 12 days ago, up 16.28% today. This is a cannabis stock, obviously, but here was the original buy right here with an effort to rise. No supply, strength seen returning, confirmation, an up bar closing near its high confirms return of strength, and it really hasn't looked back from then. Here's your low risk entry here below that. Let's see what we have here. Here's a stock that has not crossed over yet as of last night. APP, you can see it's on the negative side of the days down since it crossed, and the VPOC was negative, but it's up 4.18% today and 96.50% of its daily range. Here it is. Here's your pullback. Here's your test. Here is a validation of that test. Even though this gap lower than the test, it closed at or above the high of the previous day, and that gave an up bar closing near the high after test confirmed strength. It's going up. It's got to get past resistance here. No pocket pivot yet, but the 3 crossed the 6 today and the VPOC turned positive. So that's setting up nicely. Relative strength of 98. What's the group doing today? It's up 0.32. IT services. So you can see these scans look pretty good today. Now the market was down, but it has turned around and it's gotten stronger as I've been doing this video. So many of these stocks are probably going to hold up and do well today. Now I'm going to show you one more thing that I didn't include in these scans, but it's I'll probably put it in. I've talked about the continuation scans where stocks meet all the requirements of my continuation stocks, which means the well, I'll bring one up, but let's just look at this. Look at this. 401 stocks had continuation signals yesterday, and what were these continuation signals? Well, I'll bring one up. Here's a renewable. Well, that's not a good example. Let's look for a different chart. This Clean Energy Technologies will do. What's continuation? Continuation means when there is a pocket pivot and when the 3 is above the 6 and the 6 is above the 18, and here's the 6, here's the 18, and you get that pocket pivot. It means there's continued buying. Now this is a cheap stock, of course, but it meets the criteria. So let's find something that, see if I can find something that I'm familiar with. Well, let's use Tidewater. Oil, gas services, these have been really strong. So it fired 22 days ago on the upside, and the VPOC fired 17 days ago, 94 RS. And why is it a continuation stock? Because it had the pocket pivot yesterday. The 3 is above the 6, and the 6 is above the 18. So you can see that here's the 6 and the 18. So whenever you get a pocket pivot, it's either a pocket pivot or an effort to rise VPA flag. That is what I consider a continuation signal. So where is the continuation signal? There's one here, there's one here, there's one here. So if any of these continuations, this was the crossover signal here, if any of these continuation signals had been taken, this would have been a profitable trade. Yes, it's not a low-risk trade like the trades which are just crossing over the 3 crossing the 6 and or the VPOC crossing. But I built this scan just to show you the stocks that are showing continuation. And if you look at this number, 401, and let me show you something in my designer. I've started tracking these continuation scans. Continuation filters right here. So here's April, and there were, let me take the filter off. There were 201 on the 1st, and yesterday 291. So you can see that the stocks are continuing to grow in numbers. So that could be maybe used as a market indicator or not. I'm still kind of experimenting with this and what I'm going to incorporate it in, but I'm going to put it in a filter with, for example, money flow and continuation, and maybe top 50 group inclusion. I'll add to these as they go along, but as of now, looking at this, the results today, these stocks look like they're doing pretty well today. Thanks for listening, and there's more to come.